Technology has played a vital role in all aspects of the construction of my short film and ancillary tasks, being my short film, my film poster and my magazine review page. Throughout the researching, planning, construction, editing and evaluation of my media coursework pieces, I have used technology and has played a quintessential role in everything that I do in media. I have improved in all aspects in technology, both becoming much more knowledgeable, efficient and working to a more professional standard using more varied technology. When filming, I have used several online cloud-based solutions when storing my raw footage and creating rough edits when filming. The cloud-based storage that I settled with is iCloud, as I was able to store everything seamlessly by simply saving my work to my desktop on either my laptop for on the move or on my home computer, where I'll be doing a majority of my work later. The main reason for why I decided to use iCloud was because of the efficiency and ease of use. Being able to use multiple computers and having a synchronized workspace I found fantastic when organizing my narrative. This year, I've used predominantly all my own technology, such as my own DSLR, this one here, and I decided to purchase the Canon 700D, as the camera had a large sensor with less noise than the Nikon camcorders at my school. Most importantly, I was able to make full use of the tilting and adjustable screen on my DSLR that allowed me to use a wider range of shots, such as low-angle shots, extreme close-up shots, with much more ease. Additionally, I was able to inject the mod of a Canon firmware called Magic Lantern that allowed me to have full access of every setting of my camera, from a histogram display to forced higher bitrate recording and FPS overclocking, all of which I have used in the construction of my film. Additionally, I have used the camera to recreate certain scenes in front of my improvised green screen, taking photographs specifically for my film poster and magazine review page. The use of the histogram I found extremely helpful, as I was able to see if anything was overexposed in my shots when filming in London, or for example if anything was underexposed around in the house. Although I did have a new camcorder, I still found that I was using my phone to record some of my film, as I could not reach a high enough FPS, or 120 FPS to be exact, for my DSLR to be able to film in slow motion, something that I used in my introductory shot that I used as a hook. This very much proved to me that we are all prosumers and that technology is most certainly in the hands of all, so the democratization of technology. Furthermore, I have found only to a certain extent does technology seem to be rewarding, and that you will only be paying for incremental improvements for an extremely more expensive product. This means that most expensive products might not always be the best, so narrative and purpose is always the most important factor to consider when making a film, not what expensive things you are using to create the media with. One of the most successful examples of this is the filmmaker Casey Neistat, who stated, "I'm not bothered with technology. The pros for using this technology is only 60-40, only providing 10% incremental improvement to my work, but the 10% is worth it for me." With regards to the audio of my short film, I've used the music and audio editing software Logic Pro 10 to capture my voiceover, using studio microphones to capture my voice for my main protagonist. Moreover, I'd used my laptop to present my voice actor with his lines, characterization, and showing the film itself, so the process was swift and effective. I'd also used my iPad to show my actors on set, coincidentally, my redraftings of my current script, shot lists, and other extracts that I have already posted on Tumblr on the move. There are numerous ways that I have improved from the previous year in the construction of my film. Firstly, I'd used the school's camcorders, all on automatic settings. I've used Premiere Pro, however was not confident with the software, and additionally did not move or back up any of my data in the process of filmmaking or editing my film. Last year I'd recorded my voiceover in my dining room and it gave a bad echo and wasn't of a high standard of quality. When filming outside shots of Spirit Key, I had also experienced severe wind muffling, and this year I compensated with an external microphone with a windscreen muff. I'd also printed all of my scripting drafts and sketched my storyboard and shot list previously that made planning hard to understand and easily misplace, unlike this year. I'd also used Photoshop in the construction of my short film through the use of props. I had a photograph of the White Millers and I doctored it so that it looked old and it looked crumpled up. In the editing process of my media coursework, I used two main editing softwares, Adobe Premiere Pro and Final Cut Pro. I'd used Premiere Pro for editing my short film, as I had most knowledge in the Adobe ecosphere. I'd used Final Cut for the more modular elements of my coursework, such as montages and other shots that could be constructed quicker and on the move, as the software is much more simplistic and offers less options but is much faster and intuitive to use. However, I did find it useful in adding titles for the final parts of my film, as I could simply place the titles already rendered in the film, and because of this, could be done on my laptop, which is really convenient and therefore a lot more efficient. Overall, I've used the Adobe Ecosphere extensively in my second year, using almost all Adobe applications in my film and ancillary tasks. There are several instances where I've furthered my competency with technology with the application. This including the overdubbing of diegetic sounds, as one scene was constructed completely of post-production sound. From the creaking of the steps to the television is all placed after the footage had been shot. The way in which I was able to do this was through several layers of sound that I had modified from gain, panning, on the television and so on. One thing I found extremely useful within the Adobe Ecosphere was the harmony between the other Adobe applications. I was able to directly open and edit sources from Adobe Audition back into wherever they were exactly in the Premiere Pro timeline. One example of where I had done this was in my kitchen scene, where I had to overdub my main protagonist with a voice actor, but had to account for real-life elements, such as the echo effect in my room. I managed to use Adobe Audition to increase the bass of my actor's voice and adjust dynamically the reverb when he is speaking in the room to when he is speaking with his head inside the fridge. Overall, I believe I have improved my competency in editing. I have used much more complex post-production techniques in my film. Examples of this range from the use of montage in my opening of the film, the use of an external Adobe plugin called Neat Video, which was a noise-removing application that I used in scenes where my film was rather dark, as a result, produced noise. Other advanced techniques such as the use of ellipsis, time-lapse, and synchronicity in my shots. Throughout the year, I've also become more acquainted with Adobe Photoshop, Illustrator, and Adobe Lightroom for my photographs I had to take for my film poster and magazine review page. In Photoshop, I've been able to manipulate with several effects such as saturation, vibrance, and cut my main protagonist to place in my film poster and magazine review page using the Magic Wand tool. I've also used feathering and an inner stroke in order to match the desired colour of my background, all to create a more professional looking product, and of course making the magazine review page and poster itself. I had also made use of a second monitor this year to edit my short film and media products, as being able to see my products as an audience would next to me I found extremely helpful. Whereas previously, last year, I'd only used one post-production technique of using a three-way colour corrector to undersaturate my image in order to give an eerie atmosphere. I've also done this year, but have improved my technique as I used this in moderation. This was so I didn't lose both verisimilitude and video quality. Last year I had a very simple narrative and timeline, and therefore did not need to do as much post-production techniques, such as manipulating sound and so on. I'd also taken royalty-free music and inserted my sound into the film. Whereas this year I've researched and composed the music myself and Sibelius, using a virtual romantic orchestra in the style of Stravinsky and Shostakovich. My use of media technologies in the construction of research, play and evaluation stages of my media coursework has been a significant improvement from last year, even improving in the quality of my evaluation questions, filming my green screen progressively throughout the year to accurately track my progress, and the overall quality of my green screen improving. I've also used more media products in my evaluation, using GIFs, videos and a scrolling backdrop from my Tumblr that I've made myself in order to help convey meaning to the reader. Again, in the construction of my film, the synergy between my laptop and my computer has indeed helped me greatly with the Mac Ecosphere, allowing me to airdrop images and GIFs I've made on my phone and send them to my laptop that would synchronize all my data to my Mac at home that I could later continue working on, all effectively allowing me to work wherever is most convenient.